What is good? What is good? We got a good show for you today because we're going to be going over this Steelers Colts game that's going to be happening Saturday. Also, talk a little bit about the Steeler way because that has been a buzzword that has been thrown around a lot these last couple of days. What is the Steeler way? Have the Steelers lost it? And I even talked about it a little bit earlier this morning. But first, let's start off with Tomlin. A lot of people want him gone. And for those that do want him gone, there was some bad news dropped because Jordan Schultz actually reported it here on Bleacher Report. Shout out that Mike Tomlin, even if there's some losses that stack up throughout the rest of 2023 and we miss the playoffs, he will still be here in 2024. His job security is intact, which, based off my takes, I'm fine with that. I know a lot of people right now, I'd say 80% of Steeler Nation, 85% of Steeler Nation are not cool with that. They want him fired right now. In fact, they think he is one of the big reasons why, and I think this is a good segue to the Steeler way. He's one of the big reasons why the Steelers have lost their way, have lost their tradition. And that's why it doesn't look like a Steeler team of old right now. Mike Tomlin's one of the reasons why. And why the Steeler way is being brought up. One, it started with Minkah Fitzpatrick going back to his Patriots post-game comments where he called out his teammates saying like, hey, you guys are taking what it means to wear the black and gold for granted. Just because you throw on a Steelers uniform doesn't mean you don't have to put in the work and actually come prepared here Sunday and play to an elite level. So he was calling out some teammates. I think we can take our guesses as to who he's talking about. Maybe a couple of the receivers on the offensive side. But then you have podcasts, you have a bunch of media stuff come out after that basically piggyback off what Minkah said. You have Big Ben on his podcast questioning if the Steeler way has been lost, that there's no direction, there's no leadership on the offensive side. AB, even yesterday in his Twitter space, was like, yeah, the Steelers were at their best back when we had Ryan Clark and the team was united. And he felt like this team doesn't necessarily have that right now. And then Ryan Clark said it on Pat McAfee that no one cares about the Steeler way anymore. There's only a few. Like he said it was a little bit hyperbole, but there's only a few. The rest, like, they don't know what it means to be a Steeler. So I will say this. I think where there's smoke, there's fire. I agree with what these guys are saying. Like, something has been off. We have lost our way in the midst of this 2023 season. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. There's too many times where we see a lack of effort, where the body language isn't there. I do think, and this is something I forgot to mention earlier today, I do think injuries have played a part. Because if you're like me and actually feel like Kenny Pickett being our starting quarterback makes a difference for this team, if he just would have been healthy throughout this whole time, I think our record is at least 2 games better. I think we're probably sitting here at 9-4, and we're not hearing this Steeler way talk. Because if we're at 9-4, we are tied with the Ravens and the Dolphins. I don't know if we necessarily have the 1 seed based off tiebreakers, but yeah, we would have a really good record. So I think some of these losses contribute to people talking about the Steeler way and questioning if Tomlin has lost the locker room. Now, I do think there are things off about this team. There definitely are. Is it a Tomlin issue, though? I don't know about that. I don't know about that completely. If you want to talk about him picking the players and putting certain personnel in place, sure, but is it his job to baby guys and get these guys motivated day in and day out to play football? Partly, like, he's got to have these guys prepared, but I don't think there's been a point in this season outside of the Texans game where I've looked at this team and said, yeah, we're unprepared. On the offensive side of the ball, sure, I think we were just outclassed by having Matt Canada as our offensive coordinator, but Mike Tomlin took care of business there by getting rid of him. Like, I'm talking more in particular these last couple of games, because this is the stretch that has got people going crazy and like, fire Tomlin, the season's a disaster, everything like that. And I get it. Bad losses. Trust me, bad losses. I don't care if we've had injuries or not these last couple games. We still shouldn't have lost to the Cardinals and the Patriots. There's no doubt. But both those games, I don't know if I could say we came out and were unprepared. Does it just come down to sometimes the players making plays or not making plays? And from that standpoint, yeah, I think the Steeler way is a little bit off right now because the players aren't making plays. And Merrill Hodge put some dudes on blast. We are lacking some effort. Some of the receivers are only running half their routes out there. Like, none of that's good. None of that's good. But what I'm here to say right now about losing the Steeler way, we are lost right now. We are lost. But there is still a season left to be found. That's my thing. You have 4 games left. Teams go on bad stretches. I've always been bringing up this 05 Steelers team and how we went 7-5, lost 3 games in a row. All hope seemed lost. We had to win out the next 4 games to make the playoffs and then win the Super Bowl as a 6 seed going on the road. We did that. Like, we actually did that. So why can't this team do something of the same? And you know what? I won't even use the Steeler example. What about the Bengals back a couple of years ago when they went to that Rams Super Bowl out in LA? Weren't they like 7-5 or 7-6? Same thing. And then they got hot at the right time for like the last 3 or 4 games, won on a run. I think they won on the road for every one of their playoff games and eventually made it to the Super Bowl. Why can't we do the same thing? Why not? All 4 of these upcoming games are winnable. So that's what I'm more interested in seeing how the season plays out. Sure, we could be lost right now. The Steeler way could be lost, but I think we could also find it. It's all about how you respond to adversity. We have 4 games to make up for it. And we are in the playoffs right now as the 6th seed, and we are still at 7-6. As much as we think, or a lot of people think we are the worst team in the league, we got some good things going for us. We do. But, yeah, the last 2 games were bad. What can we say? What can we say? Okay, let me see who's in the chat real quick, and then we'll do some Steelers Colts preview. I got some Deeks keys for the game, both offensively and defensively. 3 for each. And then I'm actually going to do something fun at the end, too. Top 5 moments in Steelers versus Colts history. My top 5 moments. Did some research yesterday. I think I got a good list of 5. And you guys can agree, disagree. And if we got time, if you guys have any hot takes or questions for me, I'll react to them. But I'll also give a final score prediction for this upcoming Saturday game. The only Gen says, let's go Deke, going 4-0 down the stretch. James Arcaro, 1, 2, 3. What's up, Deke? Also says, anyone see Stephen A. Smith try to blame Big Ben for staying too long? No, I got to watch that. I would actually have to watch that. I might react to that tomorrow. Campoladenic. Defense a little banged up, though. These teams just killing us in the middle of the field. Yeah, that's part of it, too. That's what I was trying to talk about with our continuity. I think that has played into why we've been losing. And since we're losing, I think that's why people start to question the Steeler way. If we're winning games, this stuff isn't really being brought up. Now, the lack of effort, the body language, some of the other stuff I've talked about, like, yeah, that we got to nip that in the butt. We got to get rid of that for sure, even if we were winning games. Almost like whenever Juju and Claypool were doing all their TikTok things and focusing all the attention on me, even though we were winning games, I do think at the time, I know me, myself, I did overlook it because we were winning. It's like, all right, whatever. But then it got to a point we started losing games, and they still kept doing the look at me stuff. And, yeah, that's when you go too far, and it's like, bro, come on. You got to stop that. You got to stop that. But now I think we've learned from the Claypool and Juju lesson. Even though we are winning games, we got to be more team first with our approach. We definitely do. No matter who you're talking about on the team. Whether you're a star, whether you're just a veteran, bench player, whoever it is, it's got to be team first. And that's the difference I see a lot of you guys bringing up whenever I mention, the 05 teams, those early 2000 teams. Those were dogs, man. That was a team only type of, no one cared about themselves. No one cared about putting the individuals above the team. So I get that. But in terms of talent and all that, I don't know, bro. We have a really talented defense. The only difference, I think the main difference is the quarterback position. We have Big Ben, who I think at this stage of the game, there's no question, is better than Kenny Pickett. No question. But I think Pickett can be legit. I think he can be a winning quarterback for us, the guy that we need. It's just he's been getting banged up too much. Like, he wasn't able to continue what he was doing in that Bengals game, going into the Cardinals game, Patriots, you know what I mean, for the last 7 weeks of the season, because he got hurt at halftime against AZ. That's the problem. We haven't been able to keep up that momentum. And then hopefully he's back in this Bengals game, probably going to be back in the Seattle game, and we'll see what he does there. But right now, we just got to beat the Colts. Got to beat the Colts. So let's do my Steelers-Colts preview. 3 keys for the offensive side of the ball for the Steelers. 1, Mitch, don't turn the ball over. Don't try to be aggressive, like you said in last week's press conference. Let's not do that, because you see where that got us in the Patriots game. You see where that got us in the Jaguars game whenever you came in for Kenny at halftime. You wanted to be the hero. We were only down 7 points. We had the ball. There was no reason to chuck it up into double coverage. Let's not do that anymore. Or last year when you came in for Kenny in the Ravens game and threw those 3 picks. Just take care of the ball, man. Because the Colts know how to take it away. They are tied for 7th in the league in defensive turnovers, actually tied with us with 21. So that's what keeps them in these games. Like, they don't have a guns blazing type of offense or anything, but they're opportunistic if you give them a chance. 21 turnovers. All I'm looking for out of Mitch, this is the prototype. This is the template. Give us what you did last year against the Carolina Panthers. You guys remember that game? He was efficient. 17 for 22, 179, 0 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions, though, but he had a rushing touchdown. Like, that's all we need. As long as the run game's going, don't turn the ball over. Complete passes, don't put the ball in harm's way. And the run game was cooking last year against Carolina. We had 150 on the ground. Najee had a touchdown. Jalen had a touchdown. And I expect it to be the same way here against the Colts, because, newsflash, the Colts' run defense isn't that good. So that gets me to my second key of this game. Let's run the ball. Colts' run defense is bad. One of the worst in the league. 7 games in a row. These last 7 games, they've given up over 100 yards on the ground. 10 games for the whole season, they've given up at least 100 yards. So they're not good at stopping the run. They got a nice little, like, 4-headed monster up there on the defensive line. They're pretty decent at rushing the passer, but stopping the run, tackling running backs, not as good. And we know the Najee-Jalen combo has been heating up recently. It's had some of its ups and downs throughout the season, but I think those two are some of our most consistent guys on offense over these last, 3 or 4 weeks. Still think we got to get Jalen Warren the ball more than Najee Harris. But it is what it is. Najee has been stringing together some good games. But Jalen just gives us that spark, man. He gives us that lightning. And I also feel like this should be a much easier matchup than what we faced against the Patriots. For sure. Patriots are one of the best run defenses in the league. And we still had a little bit of success against New England. We got to take advantage of it going up against the Colts, this weak rush defense. Get the ball to Najee. Get the ball to Jalen Warren. And help your quarterback out. And third one, it's funny because you could probably say these exact same 3 things for every matchup, every week. Take care of the ball on offense. Like, play good as a quarterback. Take care of the ball. Run the ball good and get the ball to your playmakers. That's my third thing. Get the ball to your playmakers. Specifically, George Pickens. I know he's been moping a little bit. Hasn't been shown the best body language. Has shown some immaturity at times. But he's also right in the fact that he should get the ball. Like, he is a playmaker. He is a stud. Got to take out some of that other stuff. Got to check his emotions better, for sure. Be less me first. Be more team first. But we also should be getting him the ball, because that would help out our team. That would help us move the chains. That would help us be a better offense. My thing is this. Can we just do more of what we did against the Bengals? Because it felt like that's what we were trying to do. It was like, let's get the ball to Pickens and Deontay. Like, if they haven't touched the ball in a series or two, let's just figure out a slant pass. Let's figure out a quick screen to get them the ball. And I thought we went away from that in the New England game. Now, it could have been based off matchup because of New England's defense and the fact that we had Mitch in at quarterback. We had to change things up a little bit. But this game, with the Colts defense not being as good as New England and seeing just how we've played the last week and a half with Mitch in at quarterback, like, something's got to change. Something's got to change. I think we got to get more back to that Cincy approach. Do some, like, unique formations, scheme players open, move them around. And that's what we did against the Bengals. Like, I feel like we got to do that against the Colts. Figure out a way to get Deontay and Pickens like at least 5 or 6 touches throughout this game. At least. But also, Mitch, keep the ball out of harm's way. Now with defense, number one is just get healthy. Like, that's probably going to be one of the biggest impacts on this game, is whether or not we have TJ Watt or Alex Highsmith. Because there's a big drop-off from TJ and Highsmith to Nick Herbig and Marcus Golden. And we love Herbig and Golden. We do. Like, they're good depth pieces for us. Herbig has, I don't want to say surprised us as a rookie, but, like, he stepped up in his first year here. Now, maybe we thought it was going to be better because of how he came out in the preseason, but no, he's good. Marcus Golden, he gets out on the field, he's good. In fact, some people argue that they should be playing a little bit more to give more rest to Watt and Highsmith. But as starters, as guys that are going to be out there, snap in, snap out, yeah, you know where the money is with this Steelers roster allocation. It's to TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. Those are our guys. TJ Watt, Depoy, Alex Highsmith. I don't know. What is he? Probably a top 15 edge rusher, top 20 edge rusher in the league. Like, that's important in terms of getting pressure on Minshew and just being a better defense. When those guys are out there, your defense is just flat out better, whether it is rushing the passer or also stopping the run. Those are like Pro Bowl type of talents. We need them to get healthy. That's that. And I did see some reports that dropped today that it is trending that Highsmith and Watt will play. So that's good news. 2, make the Colts one-dimensional. Now, they've been able to run the ball somewhat decent throughout this year. They've been okay. And that's even with Jonathan Taylor being out, because Zach Moss has over 700 yards on this season. And it looks like Jonathan Taylor will be out this game. But even if he doesn't play, I mean, they can still run the ball. Zach Moss can still do some stuff. But recently, they've been tripping. Last 5 games, only one is where the Colts eclipsed over 100 yards on the ground. So I say, let's stop the run. Let's just focus on that first. Stop the run, and then make Gardner Minshew beat us. Because it's Gardner Minshew. He's okay, but he's not a world beater. He's not all pro. Like, he's a solid journeyman. He's a borderline starter / backup. But the more I think of it, this is one of those games, right? We just witnessed it last week against Bailey Zappi. These journeyman type of quarterbacks, the Steelers defense make into Hall of Fame caliber. You know what I mean? We do that type of stuff. So maybe we do focus on Gardner Minshew. Do we focus on Gardner Minshew first or stop the run first? I'd say stop the run, because I do think making them one-dimensional would play to a big advantage for our defense and enable TJ Watt and Highsmith, if healthy, to attack the quarterback. That'd be a huge advantage. So, yeah, I think we do still stop the run. Even though it's kind of equal, I don't think Colts running game's that amazing. I brought up the stats over the last 5 or 6 games for you. And then their passing game, not that amazing. But I do think we should stop the run first, make them one-dimensional, make Gardner Minshew try to beat us. But we all know what this Steelers defense is capable of. They're capable of having Gardner Minshew carve him up for 300 yards and look all pro. But I'm going to say let's stop Zach Moss in the Colts run, and then Gardner Minshew. That would be my priority. 3, last, take advantage of turnover opportunities. So as much as the Colts can take the ball away on their defensive side, they also turn the ball over on offense. They got 11 fumbles on the season lost, 20 turnovers total. So if they give us a chance, we got to take advantage. There's been too many games this year, too many times, and DeMonte Casey pops up in my mind where he's overrunning interceptions or dropping interceptions, and they come back to bite us as the game goes on. Cardinals game, they put the ball on the ground 2 times, I think, in the same series, and we were trying to come back in that game. We had a little moment. I think this was coming off of one of our touchdown series on offense. We had a little bit of momentum in that second half at one point, but then we didn't pick up those fumbles. Cardinals ended up scoring a touchdown, and that was curtains at that point. So I think Minshew, maybe one of these running backs, maybe one of the receivers, like one of these guys are going to give us a chance for a turnover here. At least one, probably 2 or 3. We got to take advantage of it. We got to, because that's what our defense does typically do. But there have been some lapses here over the last 4 or 5 weeks where we haven't really capitalized on what's been given to us from opposing offenses. So those are my 3 keys for defense. 1, get healthy. 2, make them one-dimensional. And 3, take advantage of turnover opportunities. But going back to the offense, I'll recap that as well real quick. Mitch, don't be too aggressive. Just take care of the ball. 2, let's run the rock. And 3, get the ball to our playmakers. Figure it out. Get it to Pickens. Get it to Deontay. Get it to Frymouth. Get it to our 3 best guys. Not too complicated, you know. I also have best matchups for the game here. These are some key matchups to look out for. JPJ versus Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman is playing really good. Almost has 1,000 yards. The Colts' best receiver. So if JPJ can take away him, there's not much left in the Colts receiving room. They don't have the tight ends that we went up against these last 2 weeks. At least on paper, who knows? We could make them all world because we have seen our defense do that. But I don't even remember their names. I was just looking at the Colts lineup. I don't even remember their names. They're not that good. They're tight ends. But it's that. And then at the receiver spot, they have Josh Downs, who's been doing all right as a rookie, and then Alex Pierce. Like, these dudes are good, but if we could take away Minshew's top target and Michael Pittman, I think that'll do wonders for our defense. Colts edge rushers, though, their pass rush versus Dan Moore and Broderick Jones. Broderick had a hot start to the season. Last couple games, not so much. Dan Moore has been steady, but not really in like the best of ways. I think he's improved. But if we want to compare him to what we saw heading into the end of 2022, I think he's downgraded a little bit. I think he's taken a step back. So that'll be key. Let's try to keep Mitch clean. And the Colts edge rushers, the Colts pass rushers, they're good. They're not top 10 or anything, but they're solid. As a tandem, as a defensive line as a whole, they can get after it. So that's another thing to watch out for. And then finally, I kind of mentioned this in the first matchup with JPJ and Pittman, but the Colts tight ends against our inside linebackers or safeties. Because we've seen over the last 2 weeks with all these inside linebacker injuries, all these injuries to our guys up the middle, we've been struggling. We got Trey McBride carving us up. We had Hunter Henry looking like he turned back the clock, looking like he was prime Hunter Henry with the Chargers when he wasn't injured. So let's not let one of these no-name Colts tight end that I don't even know. Let's not let them look good. It shouldn't be as hard of a task as these last 2 weeks because McBride is talented, was a second-round pick. Hunter Henry is talented, is a decent player when healthy. But we made them look like Pro Bowl tight ends. These guys aren't even to the Hunter Henry or McBride caliber. So it should be an easier task, but also something to watch for just because we have looked as bad as we have against tight ends these last 2 weeks. And hopefully we get it fixed because I'm sure the Colts are going to see that on tape. Hey, let's attack the middle. Steelers, they don't really know how to cover tight ends. They're not as good with running backs out in the flats in the passing game because we got Michael Walker. We got guys that we just called up to the 53-man roster that aren't as acclimated, that don't have the best communication with the defense as a whole. So let's see if we fix it, man. We have this mini bye, and that's what we're going to have to do to get out of these stadiums, to be better on defense. The only Gen says, I do agree with you, Deke. If we had Kenny for the last game and a half, we would have 2 more wins. Thank you. We're in the minority. Not many people agree with us. I think probably only 10% of Steeler Nation are on our side with that. Would agree. James Arcaro 123 says, is TJ playing? It's leaning that way. It's looking like it. There's some positive reports out right now. James Arcaro 123 agrees with me. He says it's all about how we run the ball. We're going to need 150 plus rushing yards. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Get Najee and Jalen the ball. Don't let Mitch make the mistake. Keep it out of his hands as much as possible. All right, let's get to the fun part of this, and then I'll give my final score prediction before we get up out of here. My top 5 Steelers Colts moments, and obviously these are biased in the Steelers' direction of the Steelers doing good things against the Colts. First, at number 5. Yeah, that was confusing. I said first at number 5. No, we're going to go 5-1. At number 5, the AB punt return touchdown where he ran into the goalpost and got flagged for it. So, as I was looking back on this play today, a couple things. It's 38-10. Why is AB in this game? Why is he returning punts in this game? I guess the NFL was just different back then. 2016. We just have our star players in there when the game is completely over, 4 minutes left, returning punts. Whatever. I'm good with it because it resulted in this awesome play by AB and awesome celebration. But yeah, that was a good one. Offense went off. I remember Big Ben hit Martavis down the sideline. Dude was on hamstring alert, easy touchdown. Yeah, offense was cooking in this one. I think this was Sunday night, right? Yeah, you got the NBC logo down at the bottom. I couldn't remember if it was Sunday night or Thursday night. I think this was Sunday night. But that one is 5. Number 4, Steelers Colts Thanksgiving game of 2016. Big Ben has 3 touchdowns. AB catches all 3 of those touchdowns. And then Le'Veon Bell had like a $140, $142 all-purpose yards, 120 on the ground, 22 receiving. So yeah, it was a killer bee Thanksgiving. And you see all of them. I think, did they all share the MVP award here? Like the Thanksgiving MVP by, doing this interview and getting the turkey leg. But yeah, that's number 4. Number 3, this one was before my time. I was alive, but at this point I was like 2 or 3 years old. The Fail Mary by Jim Harbaugh. Yes, Jim Harbaugh, Michigan coach Jim Harbaugh was the starting quarterback for the Colts. The Fail Mary in the AFC Championship game. As you can see at the bottom left, Steelers are up 4 points, fourth quarter, 5 seconds left. The Colts are at about the 30. Harbaugh, he's one up in the end zone. And initially, they called it a touchdown for the Colts. You guys, you have to watch this highlight over. You have to. Because as the dude is coming down, like the Steelers tip it up, and it hits the Colts player like in his stomach. It looks like he catches it. And I think one of the refs actually called it a touchdown. But then a couple seconds later, another ref waved it off and got the call right. But it is really close, man. Like if they didn't have a good angle on it, if they just had the flyover or whatever it is, the sideline copy that you're seeing here on the left, if they only had that and didn't have all these other different camera angles, it probably would have stood. And this was obviously important because it decided who went to the Super Bowl. Steelers did, but unfortunately we lost to the Cowboys. Number 2, Big Ben's 6 touchdown game in 2014. Dude made history the following week by throwing another 6 touchdowns against the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday Night Football. Just an incredible stretch. No one has done this feat ever. I don't think anyone's done the feat just in this game of over 500 yards and 6 touchdowns in a game. Over 500 yards, 6 touchdowns. Look at the completion percentage, 40-49. Insane. That's why he's the GOAT, man. I don't think anyone has as many 500 passing yard games as Big Ben as a whole either. I think he's got 4 total. No one else has done that. But I can't put that at number 1 because it belongs to the tackle in the 2005 AFC Divisional. as much as the 6 touchdown game is the better individual feat, this one is the more important one for Steelers history as a whole, because if this doesn't happen, we don't win a Super Bowl in 2005. The game was over too. The Steelers, for the most part, dominated the Colts in that game. Like, it was over. We handed the ball off to the Bettis. We're already up at the goal line. That's going to seal it. Just score. We're up 2 scores at that point. But then Bettis decided to fumble, and we were up 3. Harper grabs the ball, looking like he's going to take it to the house. Ben trips him up. Mike Vanderjagt missed the field goal, and the rest is history. But those are my top 5 for the Steelers Colts matchups in the history. So, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed that. I don't know. Let me know if you guys agree in the chat. Do you agree with my top 5? I see no flaws in it, really. I see no flaws. James Arcaro 123 says, "Knew it. Let's go." Yeah, I think that's the best order. I think those are the 5. Unless I'm missing some from like the 80s or the 70s. I probably am. And you guys let me know in the comments or the chat. But that's my top 5. I think that's the order. I think that's the perfect order in terms of like the impact, importance of each of those things. Maybe you could no, never mind. No, I'm keeping the list as is. I'm keeping the list as is. Perfect list. But let me give you my score prediction for this Steelers Colts game, and I'll get out of here. Colts defense, not as good as the Patriots. We were still able to get 18 points against the Patriots with Mitch at quarterback. And we left opportunities out there in the red zone. I think we can get to like 24. I think we get to 24. Maybe I'm being too ambitious there. I'm going to say 24. I think we run the ball good. I really do. I think we're going to be able to keep it moving for the most part. 24, and then I think Colts get 17. I'm going 24-17. We get a turnover to TJ or Highsmith play. We get a strip sack, and I think Minshew throws an interception. KZ catches one this week. You know what? That's my prediction for the interception. I think KZ catches one. One of his chances actually pay off. Kevin GZ says, D, you should do this more, just showing historic Steelers stuff we may have forgot about. All right, dope. Yeah, glad you guys liked it. Yeah, I thought it would be something fun to do for the Steelers Colts preview. Go down memory lane a little bit. But all right, I'm out of here, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Shout out Bleach Report. Shout out to you guys for stopping through. And I will see you post-game this Saturday. I'll be here after the Steelers Colts game. We'll recap it, and hopefully it's after a dub. That's what I'm predicting, 24-17. But stay chilling, and peace out.